At the dawn of the 20th century, the sky was a vast, uncharted frontier. The dream of flight, once confined to myths and legends, became a reality with fragile machines of wood and fabric. The Wright Flyer's historic journey in 1903 was not just a triumph of human ingenuity. It was the spark that would ignite a revolution in warfare. As tensions brewed across Europe, military leaders began to look upward, envisioning a new battlefield. These early aircraft, clumsy and experimental, were initially used for reconnaissance, their pilots peering over the sides to map enemy positions. But it wasn't long before the simple act of observation turned into something far more deadly. The age of air combat was about to begin. When the Great War erupted in 1914, the airplane was thrust from a novelty into a vital weapon. The skies over the trenches became a chaotic theater of war, filled with the buzz of biplanes and triplanes. Pilots, hailed as modern-day knights, engaged in perilous duels known as dogfights. Aircraft like the British Sopwith Camel and the German Fokker Dr.I, flown by legends like the Red Baron, became symbols of this new form of combat. Initially, pilots would shoot at each other with pistols and rifles. Soon, machine guns were synchronized to fire through the propellers, transforming these fragile flying machines into deadly predators. From observation balloons to strategic bombers, the airplane's role expanded dramatically, proving that control of the skies could fundamentally change the course of the war on the ground. The guns of World War I fell silent, but the roar of engines did not. The interwar period became a crucible of innovation, a race for aerial supremacy fueled by the lessons learned in combat. Designers shed the cumbersome multi-wing configurations of the past, embracing the sleek, streamlined form of the monoplane. All-metal construction replaced wood and fabric, and engines grew immensely more powerful. Nations across the globe poured resources into developing faster, more agile fighters and more capable bombers, prototypes that would become legendary. Like the British Supermarine Spitfire and the German Messerschmitt Bf-109 took their first flights. It was a golden age of aviation, a time of record-breaking speeds and daring flights. But beneath the glamour, a new generation of warplanes was being forged, ready for the storm that was gathering on the horizon. The Second World War unleashed the full, devastating potential of air power. The sky became the decisive battlefield, where the fates of nations were sealed. This was the golden age of dogfights, a brutal ballet of speed and firepower. Iconic aircraft like the Spitfire, the P-51 Mustang, and the Bf-109 clashed in massive aerial battles that stretched from the skies over Britain to the vast Pacific. On the ground, cities were ravaged by colossal bomber formations of B-17 Flying Fortresses and Avro Lancasters. At sea, the aircraft carrier replaced the battleship as the queen of the fleet, projecting power across entire oceans. As the war reached its climax, revolutionary technologies emerged. Germany unleashed the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, a terrifying glimpse into the future of aerial combat. The era of the piston engine was ending, and a new, much faster age was dawning. The end of World War II did not bring peace, but a tense new conflict, the Cold War. The world was divided, and the skies became a proxy battlefield for the superpowers. The jet age had arrived in full force. Swept-wing fighters like the American F-86 Sabre and the Soviet MiG-15 clashed in the skies over Korea. Their battles fought at speeds unimaginable just a decade earlier. Technology surged forward at a breathtaking pace. The sound barrier was broken, and soon supersonic fighters like the F-4 Phantom II and the MiG-21 became the new standard. Armed with guided missiles that could destroy targets from miles away, towering above it all was the threat of nuclear annihilation, carried by massive intercontinental bombers like the B-52 Stratofortress, a constant, chilling reminder of the stakes. Air power was no longer just about winning battles. It was about preventing a global catastrophe. As the Cold War continued, the focus shifted from raw speed to technological superiority. The 1980s and 90s introduced a new generation of fighters defined by advanced electronics and unprecedented agility. Aircraft like the American F-1 Tomcat, with its variable sweep wings, and the highly maneuverable F-16 Fighting Falcon and Soviet Su-27 became icons of the era. But the most significant revolution was happening in the shadows. Years of top-secret research gave birth to a radical new concept, stealth. The F-117 Nighthawk, with its bizarre, angular shape, was the first aircraft designed to be virtually invisible to radar. It was followed by the B-2 Spirit bomber, a flying wing that could penetrate the most heavily defended airspace on the planet undetected. Warfare was no longer just about what you could see. The age of stealth and precision had begun, fundamentally changing the rules of engagement. Entering the 21st century, air power has evolved into a symphony of data, stealth, and networked technology. The skies are now ruled by fifth-generation fighters, marvels of engineering like the American F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, the Russian Su-57, and China's J-20. These jets are more than just fighters. They are flying supercomputers, capable of gathering, processing, and sharing vast amounts of battlefield information to dominate the airspace. Alongside these manned aircraft, a new force has emerged: unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones. From small reconnaissance craft to large armed platforms like the Reaper, these remotely piloted systems have revolutionized surveillance and strike missions, allowing for persistent presence over the battlefield without risking a pilot's life. The future of air dominance lies in this fusion of human skill and artificial intelligence, a network where pilots, drones, and satellites work together as one. From the first tentative leaps into the air with wood and canvas to the silent, invisible presence of stealth jets and AI-driven drones, the evolution of warplanes is a story of relentless innovation. In just over a century, we have journeyed from pilots dropping bombs by hand to global networks of interconnected air power. Each era brought new technologies, new strategies, and new heroes, forever changing the face of conflict. The sky, once a symbol of peace and freedom, became a critical domain of power. As we look to the future, with concepts of hypersonic flight and autonomous combat, one thing is certain: the quest for mastery of the air will continue to drive technology and shape the destiny of nations. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the history of air power. If you enjoyed this documentary, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the incredible world of technology and history. We'll see you in the next one.